Thanks, guys. My name is Matt Love, and I'm the President and CEO of Nicholas Children's Health System.
And I'm Michelle Boggs, President of Nicholas Children's Hospital Foundation. We want to thank you for joining us tonight for this important cause to support our patients and families.
While many things around us are at a constant change, we find comfort in knowing some of the things remain the same. The strength and resilience of our healthcare heroes, our amazing staff at Nicholas Children's Hospital who serve on the front lines.
And the continued love and support of generous individuals such as yourselves, who have made it possible to come together, pull through difficult times, and bring out the best in our community.
This year marks an important milestone in the history of Nicholas Children's Hospital. We celebrate 70 years of providing world-class pediatric care to kids across South Florida and beyond. Our 70-year legacy is possible in part because of friends like you. This is our 14th year of hosting the Diamond Ball. Normally we would celebrate in person with hundreds of you gathered alongside of us to celebrate patient successes while raising funds for the hospital. But with COVID-19 taking the world by surprise this year, your health and safety is our top priority.
Tonight, we are proud to bring you our first ever virtual Diamond Ball, an auction benefiting Nicholas Children's Hospital. Before we go any further, let's take a quick look back at last year's Diamond Ball, which raised record funds for mental health. One of our amazing patients is going to share how those funds have supported patient care for kids like her. Mariah, take it away.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Mariah. You might remember me from my speech at last year's Diamond Ball. Did you know about 20% of kids suffer from a mental illness? Now with COVID-19 impacting families everywhere, that will likely change. Since March, Nicholas Children's has provided more than 20,000 telehealth visits and counting. At least a third of these doctor visits were related to mental health. Now looking back, the $2 million raised for mental health at last year's event was more important than we even knew at the time. Here's how those funds went to work and are helping patients like me. The Nicholas Children's Psychiatry and Psychology departments have expanded in exciting ways. That means more trained staff to meet the increase in demand, more outpatient services including rehabilitation, greater access to care for underserved and underinsured patients, and finally, we are still working on space upgrades and renovations at the hospital. Thank you again for making a difference for kids like me. Back to you, Mr. Love and Ms. Boggs.
Thank you, Mariah. It's another important year for Nicholas Children's Hospital as we navigate through the challenges brought on by this global pandemic. At Nicholas Children's, I am proud of our team's ability to adapt in a rapidly changing world with new safety measures, a coordinated response with neighboring health systems, and transforming how we do business to always keep our patients and families first. Let's take a quick look at COVID-19's impact on our hospital this year and where we are today.
Nicholas Children's Hospital continues to respond to the healthcare needs of our community during this pandemic. We coordinated our pandemic response with neighboring health systems, applied enhanced sanitation and safety measures, implemented COVID-19 testing and temperature screenings, and shored up supplies including personal protective equipment. In all, we spent an additional $3 million to meet urgent needs. Like many U.S. children's hospitals that at one point were pacing to lose an average of $1 million a day, Nicholas Children's has faced similar financial challenges. This year, Nicholas Children's received critical support that partially offset this year's revenue loss. That support came through the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, commonly known as the CARES Act. Still today, the pandemic continues to pose unique challenges that are likely to affect us for months to come. Now more than ever, community support of Nicholas Children's Hospital helps us always keep children first.
Keeping children first is our promise to the community, today and always. I'm Dr. Chad Perlin.
And I'm Dr. Maria Franco. It is a pleasure to be here. The pandemic has shown us that we are all in this together. And because of a shared passion and gratitude, amazing things happen when we team up to help one another in times of need.
We are grateful for the community support we have received so far this year. This includes several transformative gifts supporting COVID-19 relief from our partners at the Miami Dolphins, City National Bank, and our incredible champions, Jack and Barbara Nicholas.
We are also grateful for our dedicated colleagues on the front lines who never skip a beat in caring for patients through COVID-19. Here is a special tribute to our healthcare heroes, sponsored by CVS Pharmacy and Navarro. Take a look. As the year began, none of us imagined our community would become an epicenter of a fast-spreading global pandemic. It has been a turbulent year, as we have worked together to adapt to ever-changing guidance and circumstances.
For the first time in my career, I was faced with something that was not only unknown, but that I also felt like I was vulnerable to.
I have 4 children at home, and you tried to distance yourself from your family when you do come home. You know, my whole thing was I needed to get home, get into the laundry room, take all my clothes off, shower, completely disinfect myself before I even saw any of my family. And in addition, I have 2 elderly parents that live very close to me, who my mother used to come every day. They're 85, both of them, and my father has Alzheimer's, and they used to come every day to see the kids, and I told them they couldn't because of my job. So it was tough. You know, I couldn't see them.
Despite all the challenges and the issues that we've had with this pandemic, I think globally it forced clinicians to think about patients not as individuals only, but as part of the population, and to provide the type of care that we need to treat the patient and the population that they're part of.
I mean, we've seen it all around, like how the city rallied around people, and how, like, at the beginning of all this, like, we were getting like food deliveries to say thank you from people, and not that like we needed the food or anything like that. It was just so nice to feel like everybody was in this together, like we can overcome this, we can get through it, kind of thing. And it does feel good, at least from that standpoint.
At the end, you do learn a lot from having to deal with a situation which is not usual, and the way that you deal with it makes you better.
It keeps you humble. It reminds you that there's so much we just don't know.
Every dollar raised tonight directly benefits the Nicholas Children's COVID-19 Relief Fund. This support helps us to continue to shore up supplies, provide testing, and ensure we have the extra staff and services in place to address this pandemic head-on until it is behind us. Ultimately, this relief lets us focus on hope and healing. I know you'll be inspired by one of the stories of our patient Gabriel later in the program. The most important takeaway of the night is this: we can't do what we do without people like you at events like this, helping raise much needed funds for our patients. So as we head into the fundraising part of the program, let's come together to raise up our kids. Remember to bid high and bid often. Back to you, Jason and Jeff.